Hello everyone and welcome to the Esports Rundown of January 25th. Got a lot going on in esports, which is always great. Surprisingly, the start of the year is actually a lot of stuff because you're kind of cycling through the last cycle of the 2024 seasons. So yeah, it's a lot of fun. We got Frosty Fausting starting up. I'm gonna go through probably 3 of them, and I'll probably go through the winners of the other stuff later. But the one I want to start off with is Marvel vs. Capcom. And this would be the only name that I think a lot of people would know. But I wanted to really mention TJINR. Apparently this is his first ever fighting game that he picked up in 2023. And he has won one of the bigger tournaments in Marvel. So massive props. And like kind of just ran the bracket, like did get reset and made it close. Like Dead Pride made it very close, but really want to give a big shout out to that. And also kind of like again, as kind of a fighting game advocate, it's never too late to start. It is super fun to play. You can grind one game, you can grind an old game like Marvel, you can play Street Fighter and get into SKO. There's so many things you can do. Fighting games are the best. Please play them. Going to Street Fighter kind of shaped out like we thought it would be. The big thing you would just say is Jack in losers. But for the most part, this is kind of how we saw it. I think you'd switch either Jack or Enzo with blue, and that's what we would have imagined. So this will be a fun top 8 tomorrow. I think it is kind of anyone's game. I don't think anyone's necessarily like so above the others that like, oh, it's like, oh, Dual Kevin's gonna win this type thing. I think all of them are even. I could see a loser bracket from pretty much all of them, so I think it'll be a very fun one to watch. So that'll be tomorrow, Sunday 26th. And then I'm gonna go over for Strive to the actual Smash.gg page because Wikipedia wasn't updated. My bad. This one was very interesting. We have Hotachi losing early. We have Leffen in losers. But Leffen on Twitter was very open of like, yeah, I'm like he was checked out. So Nitro losing to Varix was very big. I feel like again, Nitro was 1 seed for a reason. Xando getting through. I don't really know anyone in this kind of bracket. So, or like, yeah, just these. I really don't know them. I apologize. Again, Strive, not my, not my forte. But once we get down into the loser bracket, this is where we see Leffen lose to this guy, who then does beat Nitro. So it's like, did Leffen just not try, or did he get gapped by a guy who also gapped Nitro? So that's huge for the top 8. But also Hotachi lost early. Shine went out. Shine was in losers very early too. Razzo went out early, was in losers. So this was a very big tournament that has dropped a lot of the top players. Like the last one you would really say would be like Xando, in my opinion, or at least in my experience. So I think the top 8 for this would be super fun. Highly suggest you guys watch it. They're still trying to figure out the top 8 for it as we speak. And that I think is all I'm going to talk about for Frosty. I'll probably talk about Tekken and some of the other ones once this tournament's really over next week. But realistically, I don't really feel like going through all that stuff, especially if I'm going to have to go through it next week. Go watch Frosty Faustings. Really good. Let's then go to Smash, which I believe is also a Fausty, but it's not even like listed here, so I'm gonna do an audible and go to this and actually look at top 8. Ooh, Riddles didn't even make top 8. I might go back. But taking down to Buzz. Really the only names I know in that. Riddles lost to is that Shulk? He's still playing Kazuya. Interesting. I have no idea. Wait, Riddles didn't make top 8. I'm just dumb. Oh, Riddles lost in... okay. Like, okay, yeah, Riddles didn't make top 8. So yeah, you would expect him to be doing better, but he's also playing Street Fighter, which I think he might have been taking a little bit more seriously this weekend. I really don't know. He has been playing a lot of Street Fighter, so he might be really, really kind of grinding that instead of Smash, which is kind of towards the end of its life cycle, especially with Switch 2. A lot of people are imagining a Smash 6 coming out soon. It's kind of, the meta's been the same for a while, and it's just kind of one of those where you get to the point where it's just the end of the fighting game's life cycle, and that's fine. But yeah, so that's pretty much what happened to Smash this week, because their wiki is either not done well or just, I don't know. So we're going to, I don't know how I'm going to jump around with this. We're going to go down to the Alpha Wikis and Call of Duty before I forget. We have online qualifiers happening right now, chat. That's not actually in the chat. We're going to go down to here and just look at this as we have the results kind of pouring in, changes from last week. I believe all of this was done. I could be wrong. Yeah, by the time I did that. Yeah, so this is all this week's matches. So the Thieves not looking that great against Miami Heretics. 2-3 is really not what you're looking for out of a team that you think can win majors, and against a Heretics team that people think is bottom 4. The Surge winning a tight one against Carolina. I don't think that's a panic button for Carolina, or like oh, we're world beaters for the Surge. I think it's just like, hey, that's a good game of COD. Vancouver then beats Minnesota the next day. In the toilet bowl of Cult CDL, the Guerrillas destroy Falcons, and right now Heretics are up on Carolina. If Heretics beat Carolina, that's when I might be worried about Carolina, and potentially when I might be a little bit more on the side of Heretics being like not that bad of a team. Again, this day will be really, really good. I think C9 versus ATL will be fun. Toronto versus Optic is going to be a absolute fucking banger, and this will also be a good game. So just if you want to watch COD, tomorrow is the day to watch it. So yeah, not gonna harp too much on that. We're not towards the major. I think major qualification is fairly set. Actually, C9's the bad this year. I forgot they don't know how to really run their work. Optic Toronto could be a banger. Realistically, I'm not sure how much seeding will change. So this will be somewhat in the area of what it'll be. I think at this point, even if Heretics lose, I think they're safe and being in the top 8. So yeah, let's go to Overwatch, because I think Overwatch has solidified who is where. And I don't think they've started yet. They start this week. Oh no, Korea has started. So Korea has started. We've talked about them a little bit. As we see do they have a better schedule? Can I? Yes, there we go. Thank you, Wikipedia. So the big one you look at is Crazy Raccoons 3-1ing Zeta. You would have thought Zeta would be able to put up a little bit better of a fight. I didn't watch it, nor do I really know which maps favors which. But Juno bands, Tracer bands, like all the bands kind of make sense, except for this Pharah. Especially like, I guess a Kings, it would kind of see it. That's just kind of a weird one. I don't know the banning system off the top of my head, to the point where I don't know if these are just banned for the entire series, or if... Can I... Is there an overall? Once... Okay. Then it's not like a fearless ban system. Okay. Sweet. Just want to make sure. So Zeta starting own 1, not the best for them, but again, I imagine they'll be fine. And oh man, they have T1 tomorrow. I think this one's gonna be very interesting, because this is kind of like a pseudo third place match. Because you like, I think the top 2 teams are Falcons and Crazy Raccoon, and that's what people think. But seeing this T1 team against one of the top dogs in Zeta will be very, very interesting. Who is on VEC? VEC has the Architect, so like Architect can do some damage, but you would definitely say like them going against, or T1 going against like the floor. Yeah, like that roster's freaking stacked. So yeah, like these teams aren't bad. Don't get me wrong. Like, who are you, multi OWL champion? So I wouldn't count any updates, but again, upsets. But you definitely say these are the ones, and I think we're going to learn a lot from this T1 versus Zeta division match tomorrow. As I said earlier, these will not have started, but we have solidified OWCS NA with the open qualifiers teams being Timeless, Avidity, Rad, and TMR, Shinkigami, and Amplify. Again, I will try and watch some highlights and stuff of this. I do know the NTMR team a little bit. I know Kuffa and Ultraviolet, and Admiral. DPS and Tank, I really don't. I know King for Rad, but he was like a hype prospect, and I don't think he really panned out as much as I think we were hoping. But and then Avidity, kind of same thing, and then Timeless has Luke Mino, and that's pretty much my knowledge. The Liquid roster was announced, which is Tree, RuPaul, Vega, Infected, and Knife. But then the SSG roster was also announced with Seeker, Sugarfree, Kellen, Bliss, and CJ. I think these 2 will be fun to watch. It's hard to bet against a RuPaul team, but we will see. I do think you would be hard pressed to see both of these teams not making it to the Champions Clash. And then we'll go over to EMEA, where we have the Genji, Twisted Mind, and Vert Pro as the partner teams. And then the Ultimates did qualify, Team Vision. I don't want to butcher it, I'm sorry. Team Peps and Sakura. I really like Checkmate. Checkmate and Landon are the guys I would know on this team. I don't know how much they'll be able to do. Team Vision, I really don't know anyone. This Peps team, I don't have a ton of faith in, but I do love them because Soon is one of my favorite players in OWL. NFD got it. It's a former Washington Justice player, not Rebellion. And he's been a really, really good, fun support to watch. Don't know them. This Ultimate Teams, I think I mentioned, is really, really solid. And then we have the official announcements for Virtus Pro, which is Shockwave, Jwoo, Vestola, Gala, and Fixa. Very solid team with one of the ugliest announcements I've ever seen in my entire life. You should go watch it. They didn't. I don't even know who signed off, and that was a lot, but it was crazy. Twisted Mind with Quartz, UB, Psycho, Hadi, Funny Astra, and Irony. Kind of keeping that, like, I think this was SSG last year with Hadi, Funny Astra, and Irony. Or Hadi, Funny Astra, Psycho. Adding TNT, UB, and Quartz. I do think Hadi, Funny Astro, and Irony will be the main, and Psycho will be the main ones, and UB and Quartz will be rotating in and out. Unless it's just a bad meta for Psycho, then these 2 will probably be playing. And then Gen G have signed Suna, Top Dragon, Mag, another Washington GOAT, Crispy, and Kanali. I really don't know who will be the best team. Like, low-key, I could see the Ultimates winning. I think they're a very, very good team. Backed by a solid org too, so like the fact that they have actual org backing, I think is really, really big for them. Because I think when people heard this rumored team, they thought they were a partner team. So it's like, pardon me, I would put them over Vert Pro. I think they're equal to Twisted Minds, and I think Gen G could put them up, could run with them, but I think this team is so good. I think it'd be hard pressed to see. I think this is a similar situation to Korea where there's a clear top 4. I'll say that. I don't think anything about China has been announced, so I think I'm just gonna leave it there. Yeah, so I think China's still doing qualifiers or something. I really don't know. Yeah, it's to be announced. But yeah, so the North America and EMEA matches start 5 days. Korea again is playing tomorrow, and then Japan is starting this week. I think I showed the teams the other day. Again, as much as say like you're not really, it's fun to watch. I don't want to, because I've watched a lot of Japanese Overwatch. I'm not gonna lie, because I need it for Japanese practice. You're not getting crazy talent out of it. However, I would not be surprised in the next few years to see a Japanese team make it to a major. Overwatch has been really growing in Japan compared to other countries. So I wouldn't be surprised to see them start popping off. Like this team has Kalios. Like Kalios Edison. Actually, this team might be able to smack some heads. Where is the one guy that used to play OWL? Is he not playing? He might not be playing. Oh well, I forget his name. But yeah, so I could see Japan Overwatch really stepping up in the next year or two. But I don't think it's necessarily this year, as much as I just say. I would love to see Varel do well, because I do love them as an org. But yeah, that is starting soon. Very fun Overwatch to watch. This is an EST, so it'll be 4 a.m. EST will be the first games, and then they do have 7 a.m. EST, which I will be waking up for this one. I will not like. That's kind of how I judge it. It's like 7 a.m. is the ones that 7 a.m. is when I normally wake up and watch stuff. 6 a.m. is if there's something really good that I want to watch. So I think that's about it for Overwatch. Rainbow Six Invitational is happening next weekend. That's pretty much all. I'm gonna talk about Apex a bit. Because I believe the group draw didn't happen. We do have them now, and I do think Group A is really good. And this is partially just me looking at names, but I think looking at especially like the Moist team that is now SR, they have always been so good. Same with TSM doing it, and then you have Prince the fucking NA old guard, all the way down from TSM, Cloud9, the NRG. They're not the old guard. They've been doing well too, so I like these are gonna be some. The Group A matches are gonna be very fun to watch. But it's one of those things with Apex. I don't think you can count anyone out. Because we've seen some crazy stuff in Apex. I think it's just gonna be fun. You'll see who's playing well at the tournament. I think form of the tournament is very important. Because the team. I remember I was watching Fnatic one time. They just they didn't show up. And then the next day they were fine, and they were so it's very tournament dependent, very day dependent. So I think there's a lot that can happen. Obviously, I would say you would probably put these top 12 in the favorites category. But realistically, anyone can do anything. Apex is so competitive right now. It'll be very fun to watch. That is starting January 28th, so in 3 days from now. They're starting very late, thankfully. So they do go into the early morning because that did not help me. But yeah, so they do go into the early morning. this is also not helping me. Why would you not give me like an actual schedule of like when the championship is? But yeah, so again, but the groups again, they do matter because you have to play against each other and they're good. But again, it's top 20. And then there's losers. So again, I've seen teams go on losers runs. It wouldn't be surprising to me. But yeah. Again, I think they said, yeah, this January 28th at, if my mind doesn't break, that is 7. That is 7:15. Yes. So 7:15 EST. So that will be very fun to watch. It's gonna be really good. I think I would pick Fnatic just because it's in Japan. I think that Japanese crowd's gonna be in full force in Sapporo, and I think Reject Winity already broke the APAC curse. I think Fnatic is going to. I think they're gonna win it all. That's my kind of bold prediction. But we'll see, and we'll check in next week during the tournament to see how it's going and what's happening. And I will be watching it more, so I'll have a better commentary on it. Let's say that, yeah. Let's go to CS. Stick with some shooters because we have the Blast Bounty going on. They're on LAN now, and we're pretty much having the finals tomorrow between Eternal Fire and Team Spirit. I think most people would bet on Team Spirit because they have this guy, Dunk. He is a absolute lunatic and is so good. But I like, obviously Eternal Fire's made it there. Woxic's a great player. I wouldn't bet against them, and like, if it wasn't against Spirit, like, them beating G2 doesn't surprise me either. So, G2, their new roster doesn't look like world beaters, but doesn't look inherently bad. So this is just kind of the start for everyone. I'm kind of feeling out. So obviously the Team Spirit that didn't change anything is gonna do very well. I don't really blame Navi for losing, but yeah, that's the Counter-Strike update. We will actually be having IM Katowice this next upcoming weekend. So we have kind of similar to what the Blast Bounty was in terms of teams that are going to be there. This hurts me, even though there's a lower bracket. Because my two big teams or two of my big esports I love, or esports teams I love, are Big and Furia. I do think Big can take down Wildcard. Because this new Big team has actually looked pretty solid. They just ran into a G2, and hey, you run into G2 and actually playing closer to money. I wouldn't be too surprised. But yeah, so probably pick Team Liquid over Heroic. Not inherently hitting against Heroic. I just think this Team Liquid team is too good. I think Heroic needs to figure it out a little bit. I pick Eternal Fire, and then Team Liquid to go through. I think 3D Max is better than FlyQuest. I'd love FlyQuest to win. And then Astralis. Probably Pain over Vert Pro. I do believe in Brazil. Then Sol over Gamer Legion. Big over Wildcard, and then Furia over Imperial. Then Big, I think, loses to Furia. And then I don't know how this bracket really plans out. But yeah, so G2, Team Falcons, Vitality, and FaZe Clan are already in their groups. You would probably say Falcons are the weakest in that group. But it's also New Falcons, so you never really know. Nico is insane. Magix is not a bad player either, so I do think they have a little bit more hope than they used to. And we have Team Spirit, Navi, Mouse, and the Mongols. Mongols, I'm glad I think they went on record and be like, hey, we want a break. And they took a nice mental health break and kind of didn't really burn themselves out. So I'm really happy they did that. I think this Mouse team, I'm excited to see them start off, and then Navi and Spirit, we already know, are really, really good. So, again, I'll check in like, during this tournament, I think, next week. But this is another thing to look at. IN Katowice is always one of those just amazing events. Is this the... Okay, I'm not... I forget if that... No, that's not the cathedral. Never mind. Cologne is the cathedral. But Katowice is another huge event, always. It's great. It is part of the Grand Slam. So this is one of those that they take very, very seriously, and it's an all offline event. I think we're going to stick with shooters and go to Valorant. And we're going to start off with China, and EDG is inevitable. They dropped the games to Trace. I think it was crazy that Trace won, and everyone's like, oh wow, is EDG just not as sharp? And then it went down to the lower bracket, and they were down 1-0 against Sheila Gaming. They lost Lotus, and then barely won in Bind, and slammed them on Heaven. They woke the fuck up. And that was when they just went on a tear. They 13-0 Dragon Ranger in one of these matches, 3-0 Billy, and went up to Trace. They did lose a map. They lost the first map in OT and just kind of took control. EDG is inevitable in Japan, or in China. And they will be joining Trace as the two teams to be going to the first Masters in Bangkok. I am very happy for Trace because they weren't one of these inherent, like, oh, top teams you thought. They were kind of the last ones looking in, so I'm glad they were able to have a good showing. And I'm excited to see them in the upcoming major and seeing how they do. But we will go up, just gonna go down the line here, and we're gonna go to EMEA, where BBL, I think, oh no, we knew BBL, we knew these two matches. So Footballists did take down Team Liquid 2-0. Was pretty dominant. Team Liquid didn't really look like they had a chance in that game. And then Heretics actually got played close to by Gentlemates. Heretics did not have a good first map by the scoreline. Miniboo is just that's not him. That's Miniboo. To then just have the answer, and then the fairly close map. But they were able to, Heretics, kind of the favors, were able to pull it out against the mates, who then went down and did beat Movistar Koi. So I'm very glad the mates got a win. And then speaking of not getting a win, Navi, just unfortunate for them. They just got screwed, man. I'm so, like, having to play K-Corp into Fnatic is just so unlucky. And same with Carmine Corp, having to play Navi into Vitality, and then having to play Giant X, who should have beaten BBL. Like, that's just tragic. These were close games, so like they're all 2-1s. Apex, I believe Fluorescent played very, very well. Yeah, Fluorescent was the highest performing person. She did great. But just not able to get the W against Liquid, who you would think would drop probably to this Giant X squad. But you never know. So yeah, there's gonna have a lot coming up because they play midweek. So these matches will be really good. Vitality, I think I would probably pick Vitality, Heretics, and then Fnatic, Giant X, my thought. And then Fnatic over the winner, and then I don't know who would get dropped, but I also would pick Giant X. I'm a little higher on Giant X. So yeah, this is gonna be interesting to see kind of it play out over the next few weeks. And going to Americas, Loud just they are so lucky to be given this draw, man. All right, I was thinking lucky because they did beat EG. I want to give them too much hate, but then getting to play Crew, I think is just very, very lucky that Crew is not that solid of a team this year, seemingly. Sentinels did take down 100 Thieves. I think we went through all this. Yeah, we did go through all this. Fury unfortunately wasn't able to get it done against EG, so that hurt me a little bit. But yeah, it looked good. I was happy. MIBR kind of woke up, knocked out Cloud9, another big hitter going out early. 100 Thieves. I think they just got unlucky, man. Like they won against MIBR, who is going to be a good team. Then they had to play Sentinels. They played them close, and they played NRG close. Like NRG should not have been there inherently. Like that should have been Cloud9. So I feel bad because that was unlucky for them. I think if they were playing against Cloud9, I think they beat Cloud9, and I think they beat Crew, and I think they're here, and it doesn't look as bad. But they just got a really, really bad draw. And again, I want to stress this enough. They didn't play that bad. I saw the Nadeshot tweet. I get it why you're trying to say it, because like especially 100 Thieves Val hasn't been so great. But man, it's just they just got unlucky inherently. That's all it is. And then APAC. This was a gigabanger between T1 and PaperX. Great game. You'd also imagine, I think T1 just going to grand finals after this. I think they're better than Talon. I do think they're like Gen G stumbled against RRQ this morning. And I don't really rate RRQ that high. And then DRX being Nongshim kind of surprised me. I thought Nongshim was gonna be able to take it, but DRX's coaching, I think, was probably the difference maker in that match. And then we got Nongshim versus Boom coming tomorrow morning. Same with PaperX versus Zeta, and I think Zeta's just gonna get blown out. I do think this is gonna be these two are gonna be the biggest games of this one, because I think Boom is just they're just outclassed. But RRQ versus Team Secret and BFM versus Global, I think, is kind of figuring out who's where in that bottom tier. I think DFM as a team, who I think has higher aspirations this year, they need to win that game, and they need to look good against PaperX. They don't need to win. I don't think they will beat PaperX, but I do think they need to look some semblance of good. And then so switching to the other Valve game, or the other Riot game in League of Legends. Got a lot going on, so we're going to go through this very quickly, kind of wrapping up. This will be a C9 win. Shopify just got unlucky. I think they didn't play as bad as I think the 2-0 scoreline looked, but I think FlyQuest is just such a good team that it's like, man, what are you going to do? This will be happening tomorrow. Be really nice to see this new look Dig team. I'm honestly kind of interested to see Surdy. He's gonna be fun to watch. And then seeing this Disguise team, I don't like the way it was made, honestly. I don't think Castle's that good. I think it could have been better. I think it was an import. I think Abadage could have done more, but I will reserve judgment. So yeah. And so the top 4 do go to the cross-conference play. So I believe they've already confirmed it. No, they haven't, because they would go down here. Yeah, so they need to win one more. If you get up here, you confirm it. Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, so these teams just need one more win. So it'll be interesting to see where SR ends up and kind of what they do in the lower bracket, because I do think they actually have a chance to make it to the Crossed. Because like I think you would say FlyQuest, Team Liquid, people 1-2. I think C9. You don't really want to count out C9, so it's kind of between this 100 Thieves, which again that's a good team. 100 Thieves and SR. Yeah. Let's go to the South, because they also started today, I believe, where Pain upset Loud, which I wouldn't have expected that. And I love Viaton beating Keith Stars, which that doesn't surprise me. I really don't know much about Brazilian. That's one of the things I'm learning. So Isurus is going to be interesting because I do know Jose Diodo and Bertel. My dream would be Furia and Rankinen's winning, but I will be keeping up closer and learning more about it as this split goes on. LPL, I really don't know what happened, but this is kind of there's been a lot of league, man. I'm trying to keep up. And then they don't have a good schedule, right? Group stage, do they? No, here we go. They've actually been on a break. Yeah, they've been on a relative break for a bit. But JDG did look good against Ultra Prime. Like, there's been no surprises really. OMG playing JDG was like a little surprising close, but again, nothing you're looking at. You're like, oh man, this is fascinating. I think the fascination will be when we get to the playoffs, and I think that will be where I will be looking a little bit closer to LPL. Same with this. I'm gonna go skip EMEA. Actually, EMEA, they have a terrible system. I don't care. Do they have a good regular season? Yeah. So since we last talked, BDS, Fnatic, like Koi being Vitality, no surprises. G2 hasn't looked great, but it's also G2, so are you that surprised? Like they always kind of ramp up. I think you might be a little bit more worried with them losing Mickey X because he was a big shot caller, and I don't think Lebrov is that good, but it's G2 and Caps. It's hard to bet against them, because they're making playoffs. BDS dropping to Team Heretics I think is a huge red flag for me, where they're more in the 6th spot. I don't think I did a tier list, but like my tier list would have been like G2 Fnatic, KC, then Giant X, then Vitality? No, they might have been 5th, because I can probably put BDS over Vitality. Oh, no, sorry. No, I forgot about Koi. It would be G2 Fnatic, Koi, then K-Corp, then GX, and then BDS, yeah. Koi's been looking good. I think this match would have been closer if it wasn't a big draft gap, but it really was, so. But yeah, EMEA is best of ones. There's nothing to talk about here until we get to the playoffs. Like this is where the actual shit happens. But we pray for a better LEC format. South Korea. In this group battle, I think from the last time we talked, it's around here. No, actually, I think it's here. Yeah, with DRX winning. Yeah, Group Elder, I'm not sure if they've confirmed that they're better. Yeah, I think they have at this point. I think Group Baron will need to win every single game, which I think is unlikely. The big upset. Pro beat Gen.G. I got nothing. I genuinely have nothing. I think Hype played amazing. Hambach played good. I just think Gen.G didn't show up that day. Yeah, there's not much more to say. DRX beating BNK. I think BNK might just be the worst team in the entire league. DRX is showing a lot better than I think people thought, but BNK I think is just the worst team in the LCK. Which is unfortunate, because I think I remember looking at them and I was like, I didn't hate it. Actually, wait, no, I did remember looking at this. I did hate it. Because I don't trust Vikla. Kellen. Oh my god, Kellen was not good when he played. So yeah, I don't. Yeah, that makes sense. They're 10th. But yeah, so DK beating HLE is another big red flag for HLE. But like the two teams they really needed to do well against, they didn't play well. I think if they were able to win that would have been huge for Group Baron. But I think, unfortunately, either Freaks or Brion are gonna just get eliminated. And then, yeah. Oh, never mind. No, it's top 4. So I think it's just gonna be Fear XCon. T1 did play Smash against KT Rolster, and Smash looked good. Smash was very aggressive, sometimes to a fault. But he was not afraid to go in. He did mega damage. I didn't watch the Zaya game, but the first 2 games he was super good. I think, again, it wasn't perfect. Don't get me wrong, but he was very solid, and I think he is going to be a superstar. I don't know if I actually agree with them benching Gumayusi, but I do also agree with the idea that this meta really isn't Gumayusi's meta. And it's giving them more of a rest is fine. So yeah, we will be finishing up in the next week or 2. There will be some games tomorrow morning. And then obviously the next weekend. But I think pretty much we have figured out which is going to be the top team, which is going to be these guys. And then we will have the Group Baron playoff and stuff like that. And then we will quickly talk about, because man, I'm going long already and I don't like this. It's been a lot. Pacific, we've pretty much gotten a little bit more, just more games played. Chiefs taking a game off DFM I think would be worrying them if you're a DFM, which I am, because they did lose the team secret. SoftBank also lost to Vikings, so not a great start. They did play 2 really good teams, but again, if you're SoftBank, you want to be contesting this league for a championship. So I think tomorrow is going to be very interesting between DFM and Talon. But yeah, that's the Pacific. Okay, I think I have Dota and Rocket League left. So Dota, we had the qualifiers. I think I mentioned those. But we are in the Fissure Playground right now. Bet Boom, clean sweep through, didn't drop a game, looked very dominant. Same with Heroic. And then Gladiators, Paravision, and let me just go. Can I go to the Swiss part? Group states. There we go. Yeah, so we'll have the 2-1 matches. SR lost to Tundra, but also lost to Avalis, so that hurt me that they're already out. But we do have these matchups for. These will be confirming their spots in the top 8, and these are just to stay alive. I think these are best of 3s, so it kind of is always iffy on some of these teams where it's like, oh, are they just best of 1 Andes, and are they really good in that format or not? So yeah, we'll have that, and then I think bracket. Then the elimination stage is, will be WLM next weekend. It's in Belgrade, so it is earlier in the morning for the NA Frogs. So yeah, very sad about this. But I also think they got kind of unlucky because Bet Boom is very good. I think Tundra is not bad, and then Avalis, I feel like I remember not being that bad either. So yeah, that's Dota. It's been fun to watch. I still have no idea what's going on. I will be learning as we do this series more. I know we'll be doing a drunk Dota learning session at some point, so that's going to be fun, and I will be probably posting that at some point. And then finishing with Rocket League. Gonna bang this out real quick, because I believe there's only really one region that I want to talk about, being Europe. Actually, now APAC is running. I'll go through Europe. Europe, South America, and APAC. Let's do this very quickly. Nothing's happened in Europe. this much. The Swiss will be happening tomorrow. So as much as I'd say, there really hasn't been anything of note too much. Obviously, all these teams are added. Scrub Killer is playing. I guess Caliente did requalify. Again, there's really not much to talk about overall. So we will have the Swiss format going, and then I'll report back next week when there's probably more to talk about. I believe it should be the same in South America. They haven't even gotten to their Swiss format or to their full teams, so they're going through their qualifiers right now. So that should be done by the end of this weekend. And then Pacific, similar thing. So yeah. Rocket League, they are just pretty much every week there's some sort of Rocket League you can watch at this point, until there's a major, and then there's going to be a weird few week break. Just there'll be some region. Rocket League's great. I do endorse it. There's also some, you can do amateur Rocket League, and it's very, very fun. So, I talked a lot. For some reason, if you're here till the end, thank you very much. I do appreciate it. Any feedback would be very, very helpful. I'm trying to improve every single time I do this. I don't think I really did that much to improve inherently this time. I think I kind of talked a little bit more on teams, but I get towards the end and I want to try to rush through it. So yeah, thank you for watching. Subscribe and leave comments again if there's anything I should be doing better, if you want to see different, if you want this live, any of that type of stuff. I don't really want to put any esport footage. That was one of the things I thought about, but it's the copyright stuff I think would be a little bit weird. So I either could have like game footage, but I think just having the information in front is probably better. So yeah, have a wonderful, wonderful day or night, depending on when you're watching this.